Shalom, I'm giving all praise to Yehovah Shem Shai by Shem Kakodash, coming back at you with another one. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there. Shalom. 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 However you want to hear it. Anyway, peace. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, if you're not a part of the elect, you will not get it. Subtopic is, in general, if you're not one of the elect, of course, you're not going to get it. But the topic is, or the subject is, there were two nations in her womb. So I was just going around and came across the line radio, which, let me see, so do I subscribe to them? Yep, I do subscribe to them. Subscribe, and I receive all of their they get notifications for their videos. I didn't get a chance to see this last night, but I'm watching this right now. It's put up almost 12 hours ago. And at about the 24-minute mark, I'm at 24:22, as you can see, over two hour video, classroom, web pod, whatever you call it, video podcast, whatever. Anyway, let's listen to this individual right here. I believe he said he wanted to have a debate with, I guess, Captain Tazariak. And you're not ready, brother. You're gonna get ragdolled by him. You're not on no level. Like I said, this is not about the guys that want to always debate you. Red flag should go up, man. This guy's looking for fame. He's looking for this. He's looking to get up in there. Anyway, let's listen. Let me shut up and let's listen.
I know. I don't know if this is in regards to the room we had. I think it was yesterday, and you said you had some questions, or you had a question about a debate, and I said what we could do is you can come on the show. And then on the show, we can kind of, work out what type of dialogue or whatever we would have. Talk real quick? We would have, right? Yeah.
And see, Captain Tazariak is inviting you to debate because he knows that you're, low on the food chain. That you're gonna be an easy swipe. And a tiger or a lion, they can either bite you or they can swipe you with their paw. So that's going to be an easy swipe of the paw. So you have no business, talking about debate, and you really don't understand the scriptures based upon what you're going to say. Now, I don't know if you're sincere, brother, or not. If you're on the elect, eventually you'll see it. But if you don't see it, you're not of the elect. Just like, right, they can't see the microchip. They can't see that. So if none of them wake up, to the fact that what GMS been saying is the truth, then none of them are the elect. But I do believe that there's elect. Among them, I believe there's my personal belief. Okay, don't quote me on it. My personal belief is that you have elect scattered among the various camps out there, the former One West camps. Which includes the Sakaris, which is not from One West, but they from a break off of the One West camp. Okay, we're all over the place, man. We're like baby's kids. So let's listen. I hope you can hear this loud and clear.
Yeah, so what you want to rap about, man? What's up? You said you had some questions. Just so you know, when we do the class is slightly different because we're getting questions from all over. That's why we didn't get your question. But now you can ask whatever question you got.
Okay, so the first thing is the concept of how can a woman have twins and one come out let's say for example African American and the other one come out Caucasian? How is this possible ever?
Simple answer is you have albinos. You have a family, a dark-skinned man, dark-skinned his woman. They have children. They have 5 children all together. The third child comes out looking like a white man, looking more like Captain Kazazak, which he looks like a small hat. But we know he's an Israelite because as soon as he opens up his mouth, it ain't nothing but Israel coming out of it. As soon as he opened up his mouth, that's all Israel, right? So you're gonna have Israelites looking like small hats, looking like Moabites, looking like Ammonites, looking like Ishmaelites. You got a lot of so-called Ishmaelites, Arabs that are actually Israelites, and some of them are mixed with Elam, or some of them are mixed with Edom. All right, and Edom was not totally done away with vocab Malone. Edom spread their seed to the dark nations as well. That's what tears are all about.
Have you read Genesis, the 25th chapter?
Yes, and it doesn't say that one child came out an entirely different race. It didn't say they were going to be 2 different nations of people.
It does.
Nation. One of the definitions of nation is a race. Nations are based upon your seed. You know, I have is myself, my cousins, my nephews, my wives, my this, my dad, my mother, my father, my uncles, whatever. That's basically a race. It goes back to the seed, you know, which goes back to your grandfather, which his seed goes back to this. You go back far enough, it will go back to the Israelites. So when you say nation, one of the definitions of the word nation is seed or gene or race. Race only means a gene, raza, which is Latin for gene. So you can say they were from 2 genes, they were from 2 races, but they were from 2 nations. The word there in Genesis is 2 nations. Genesis 25.
And
They have
nations,
2 different manners.
and nations are races. Nations are racism.
Nations are races. Another way of saying a nation, this nation against that nation, you can say this race against that race.
Like,
No, they're not.
they are.
Bro, no, they're not.
In that
In the
context,
Bible,
in that
there's no
context,
nations.
in that context, in that,
If you ask him, what does the word race mean? Ask him, what does the word race mean? He's not going to give you the correct answer. He's not going to say, well, it's a Latin word meaning gene. So what is a gene? Another word for gene is seed. What makes a family? A group of seed, the common seed. They all have a common father, really father, not mother, but father and mother, but father, because the seed comes from the man. So he's on a low level. He doesn't know. Maybe he's sincere. Maybe he's one of the elect. Maybe he'll wake up. But the scriptures, just like Yahushua told Nicodemus, you must be born again. If you come in with that garbage from the world, from what you thought the Bible was and what your grandmama taught you, because she had a veil when she was born with a veil over her face. And my grandma, the spirit dealing with, and she could read spirits. If you come in with that, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. You're going to have to be born again in the spirit.
context, those are races.
Hey, man, here's what you're correct about, right? When you say it doesn't say that one can be African American, one can be the white person. Those words aren't in the Bible; they don't exist. But it does say 2 nations are in that room, 2 manners of people shall be separated. That means that one people will be one way, and the other people will be a totally different way. Otherwise, it would just say one nation.
Right.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that if today, in today's time, you see, like, because I got an uncle named Red, and he's light skinned with red freckles, got red hair, but he's not a Caucasian man. And so, and you know, you got people that could be acting similar to what Esau did, which is like hating his brother, which is what God hated about him. They could be doing it. Those people, you know what I'm saying, would be taking on the same manner and nature that Esau had.
You
So
skipping,
it's like, how can you say that white people who were actually already, because we know where white people come, the areas that they come in, people were already in those areas, inhabiting those areas and everything like that.
That don't mean that they
During
look,
the time that
that don't mean that they
Esau
look
was born.
that don't mean
You're saying white people is no, there were no white people. No white people. No white people. Let me say it again. No white people at that time. Now you could have a case where you got one of the dark, they were all dark nations. Well, wait a minute, what about that white man over there? Archaeological book, white man. Well, that's an albino. The first real so-called white man, the father of the white race, came from the loins of Esau. Two manner people, meaning two spirits. The Most High, the sperm came from Isaac, which is the Yahushai. So there was twins is when you have a sperm, a split, and sometimes you have identical because the split comes and it's identical. Sometimes they're fraternal. So when that sperm of the two boys was one sperm split, the Most High initiated the spirit of Esau in the one sperm, or half his sperm, which became another sperm, and then the spirit of Jake and another sperm. That's why there were two different spirits. So the Most High could put a spirit, in you, but that only happened then. That only happened then. When Jacob had his sons and daughter, they were the seed of Isaac and Abraham and all the way back to Adam. So this is not hard. This is not rocket science.
that they look Caucasian. And the part that you're forgetting is that it's not you and I that said this. The Lord said that two men of people. The Lord said two nations. So it's the Lord that divided them. It's not us. It's not.
Yeah, no. Two manners is that's what I'm trying to explain. Like two manners does not mean two different races. Is what I'm saying.
What I'm
Two
no,
great-
no, no.
to-
Before
to
you
races,
get to the
races.
before you get to the manner, the two nations stuff. It says two nations are in thy womb. The manner is that the manner of one nation is going to be totally different than the other nation.
Right.
And
Spirit of the righteous, Jacob, spirit of the wicked, Esau.
and it says they shall be separated from thy bowels. So this is not the typical somebody having a child and the child is born with red hair. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is two nations that are going to be totally separated and different from each other.
Yes, and for example, you got people who have twins today in today's time, and one of them be probably bad as hell, and the other one.
Did the
be
Lord
fine,
say that they would be
bad.
two nations? The twins that you talk about in today's time. Did the Lord say that they would be two nations?
Well, that's gonna depend on what God told their specific mothers. Like we don't know what
That's
God told.
right,
each
but we
individual
do know
mother.
what we do know what God told these mothers. Excuse me, this
Right.
mother. And
Which
the
means that it could be possible with the mothers today as well. So even though
No,
these
no.
mothers
This man has no spirit. His third eye, chakra, whatever you want to call it, he doesn't see. His eyes are not open. And if he doesn't wake up, he's gonna he's gonna get the charagma. Just like all the members of the IUIC, and he's gonna be destroyed in the fire. And I pray, honestly, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I pray that you clowns from the IUIC wake up to the charagma, man. Don't let Bishop Nate fool you like that. Don't let him pull the wool over your eye. All right, I even hope he wakes up. I hope he wakes up. I truly hope he wakes up. As a matter of fact, since I'm talking about hoping that people wake up, I hope that the members of the ISUPK wake up to the fact, and see, I'm going off a little bit, but I'm having a little fun here, because we're so confident, man. GMS is so confident with what they got, which is the truth, which is 100%. What camp do you know that can say they got 100% truth? IUIC has yet to say that. Now you can act like you can say it, but it don't mean you got 100% truth. You're lacking, my man. All you guys are lacking. That ISUPK, IUIC, and the rest of y'all camps. I'm not going to go down the list. Y'all are lacking, man. And I'm not saying it to be, boastful, and I'm just saying it because it's the truth. So you can keep watching the GMS videos and ask questions so you can get it right. It's the only way you're gonna get it right. The only way you're gonna get it 100% is by watching GMS. Okay?
So having twins that are
There's no
of the
new
same
nation.
race,
There's
they
no
have
new.
two different men.
Right about now, I'll be looking to hang up on this guy. I'll be looking to change the subject, put him on hold. Don't leave him on the hold button. Hopefully he hangs up. I'm looking for I'm in my mind, I'm saying, when is this dude gonna walk down the street? If we was on the street. So when is this dude? I hope this dude hurry up and just I hope he get a phone call where it's an emergency and he got to get from around me. I don't want him around me no more. He's not one of the elect. We're only dealing with the elect. When you teach somebody, or somebody asks you questions, you got to assess in your mind, could he potentially be one of the elect? And if he takes to it, then you say, well, he might be one of the elect. Most High, we only dealing with the elect, man. Not dealing with the whole nation. The whole nation is not going to make it.
There's no new nation being created today. There's no
No,
new.
bro. You can say that there's no new nation. That's fine. There's only really two nations. There's God's the nation, the people that's of God, and the people that's of Satan. That's how it's always been.
That's not legit. That's not legit.
No, you got the sons of the wicked, the sons of the Most High, or the sons of God. When it speaks about Genesis 6, chapter 6, the Nephilim are us. We descended from the Nephilim. Okay, we got to start teaching that. We descended from the Nephilim. The Nephilim are the Most High's people that were ultimately named during the lifetime of Jacob, Israel. But prior to that, we were known as Hebrews, or the sons of the righteous, and the Nephilims. Esau is not the Nephilims. They're the demons.
Man,
Then you have the nations of men, the other nations.
That's not legit.
How is that not legit?
Because you have the nation of Israel, you have the nation of Egypt, you have the nation of the Canaan. That makes absolutely no sense.
No. What I'm saying, the Bible says in Ephesians 6 and 12 that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
so
but that's not
concept,
true. But that's not.
That's spiritual demons and Esau in the power seat.
Right, but that's not saying that it's only two nations on the planet. That's only written.
I'm saying
that's
that
only written to the children of Israel. Wait, when it says in Ephesians 6 and 12 that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, that has nothing to do with the race of people. That's Paul writing a letter to the church at Ephesians about what they're going to wrestle with. You're going to wrestle with what your flesh want to do, but what your spirit should obey. That has nothing to do with Jacob and Esau or a nation. That's exactly what it says.
If I had this guy's smartphone, I'll call him and say, look, they're towing your car away, so he can run away. I've been from the minute he opened up his mouth, the first 10 words he said, I'm looking, when is this nigga gonna get down the street? You know what I'm saying? When is he gonna when he's gonna get down the street?
No, it said that we wrestle not against the flesh and blood. So we're not actually fighting against our flesh or other people's flesh or blood.
No, you actually
we're
are.
wrestling against the spiritual powers that work.
You're not getting what I'm
spiritual
saying.
powers influence you. If your conscience fall, you are subject to this energy.
You're not getting what I'm saying. The crack epidemic. That's in this verse, they would be the powers and the rulers of darkness. Your flesh and blood literally would be your addiction to that drug. So I get what you're saying, but this has nothing to do with Jacob and Esau in Genesis 25 and 23.
No, it does, because it's telling you, like, it's telling you that yes, they're gonna have two different manners. So you know that they're gonna have two different ways of being and acting and things of that nature.
And look,
and we see that in the scripture.
Right. So what's the problem?
But yeah, it had nothing to do with their skin tone or them being or Esau being the white man. So that
Well,
is
Esau
like,
is
how you saying it?
well, Esau is the so-called white man. That part, I'm not really.
But
I
no,
ain't-
that's what I'm saying. How are you
so
saying?
so is your
Esau a white
argument?
man?
So
Yeah.
now it sounds like you switching it. So what it sounds like you're saying is you're not saying that they wasn't two different nations. You're just saying that it wasn't an Edomite nation.
No, I'm saying that they were in two different races of people. The white
They
man
have to be
is
two
a
different-
certain race.
two
The
nations.
Caucasian man is a race of people. The black man is a race of people. This is what I'm saying. A woman is not about to have twins and her babies come
Hey,
out
let me
two
ask you a
different
question.
races.
Let me ask you a question. Ham, Shem, and Japheth, are those different nations today?
Yes, they've been different nations.
Okay, why aren't they brothers? Why are they not the same?
No, they are brothers. The whole point is
You
that
just
they
said they was nations. You just said
yes, they are nations and they are brothers. Each brother has
No.
made their own nation because their nations
but they're
consist of
not-
people who
but
has
they're
come
not
part of what
together.
what
but they're not together. Ham, Shem, and Japheth.
At this point, this is going nowhere, man. This is going absolutely nowhere. No edification is coming out of this. It's just some back and forth bullshit. I would have just hung up on the dude. I would say, okay, we're gonna take our next caller. But wait a minute, I would have hung up on him, man. This is absolutely pointless. This is absolutely pointless.
Under the umbrella of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. They never
No,
did that.
they
And
had-
you know why
so
they
you
didn't
got-
do that? Wait, let me answer. Excuse me, let me finish. And you know why they didn't do that? Because the Lord separated them. The separation of Jacob and Esau is not the first time the Lord separated nations. He separated them in Genesis 10 and 32. It says, these are the families of the son of Noah after their generations in their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. So just like the Lord divided these nations that were once would be sons and nephews and uncles, he did the same thing with Jacob and Esau.
Yes, and they were still one race of people.
They're not one race. Show me
No.
one. They were never one race.
Yes,
they
so
were,
for example, Hebrews 11 and 7.
Technically, they started as one race because Ham, Shem, and Japheth. I said it that way because that's how King Marshall used to say it, Japheth. Anyway, they would be Ham, Shem, and Japheth would be of the same race because they came out of one seed, which is Noah. But out of those three seeds that came out of Noah, there were three spirits on them. And those were the other nations. That's why we excel. That's why Israel excels, in performing music and dancing and singing and sports. We override these people, man. You'll never have MVP in the NBA championships that's a white guy. Now, if it does happen, that means he's really a Jake that looks like a white boy. So he's not going. He can't get it. This is a waste of time, man. It's a waste of time. This is what you call verbal diarrhea.
It says, by faith, Noah being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared the heart to the saving of his house. Now, the word house right there, okos. I
Okay,
hope I
Hebrews
said
11 and 7.
G
I'll look it up for you.
in the Greek.
Yeah, Hebrews 11 and 7. Which word?
House. The word for house.
It says G. Yeah, it says
I wouldn't be surprised if he's watching GMS. He's watching me because all these guys, all of a sudden, they're experts on the blue letter and the etymology. Now, where do you think they got it from? They got it from GMS, man. Starting from the leadership on down. Even Bishop Nate, and I caught y'all out there, IUIC, they go into the commentary now. Oh, I like how Tahar goes to that commentary. The Bible Hub. I'm going to start doing that too. I caught y'all, man. Y'all better start recognizing. You gotta have fun with this, man. You gotta have fun with this. I'm waiting for this guy to say something so I can get some precepts out.
uncertain affinity, a dwelling, a more or less extensive, literally or figurative, by implication, a family, more or less related, literally or figuratively. Home, house, temple. That's the definition of that word. Doesn't say nation.
No, I didn't say it said nation. No, I'm saying when you look at what the word means, right there in that, and you look at all the definitions of the word.
That's what I just read. I read.
Yeah,
every
right,
definition
exactly.
of
And
the
then
word.
when you look at what the word nation means, you can see that the same similar definition still stands. So
if I go
family
to
or a
nation,
descendant of
so let
someone.
me go to nation. Let me go to
You said
nation.
what?
I'm going to nation.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I go to Genesis 25, and
Y'all let these
23,
dictionaries make y'all dumb.
I'm gonna go to Genesis.
Good point. Good point. That's a good point. That should be on a T-shirt. So Captain Kazari, Captain Kazazak can make a T-shirt. Let me hear that. That's a good point. That's a good point. Let me hear that again.
Descendant of
So let
someone.
me go to nation. Let me go to
You said
nation.
what?
I'm going to nation.
Yeah,
If I
go
go
ahead.
to, if I go to Genesis 25, and
Y'all let these
23,
dictionaries make y'all dumb.
Y'all let these dictionaries make y'all dumb. Y'all let these dictionary make y'all dumb. You got to know how to deal with the dictionary in order to get things out of value out of the dictionary. You can't just open up a dictionary, so you mean this. It'll mean that. But if you go to the etymology of the word, it doesn't mean that or this. Don't call it. Don't be trying to come off like you deep, like you done discovered the blue letter. You ain't discovered the blue letter, man. You don't know nothing about the etymology of words. Oh boy, this is the confusion that we got to deal with. This is the confusion that we got to deal with, man. And you can thank the IUIC because they bring confusion, man. You keep coming back and forth with the MOTB. You done lost, man. You got body bagged a long time ago. Let's listen.
I'm gonna go to Genesis 25 and 23. This is what nation we are. It says H1471, apparently from the same root as H1465 in the sense of massing, a foreign nation, hence a Gentile, also figuratively a troop of animals or flight of locusts, Gentile, heathen, nation, people. They're not the same words. They don't even use the same
word. No, when you, brother, first off, when you look in the lexicon of the word still means of descendant of, or it says of Abraham, but it's a descendant of someone.
No, what I'm
So
saying is
no matter
nation
how you
and house.
feel about
Hold on one second. What I'm saying, nation.
Abraham out of his seed, out of Noah's seed, became other nations. That's why you have more than, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. You have more than 3 nations out there. They will all be classified as either Hamites, Shemites, like this clown, Vocab Malone. He's saying now that Jake, they're Hamites. We ain't no Hamites, man. And you an Edomite. That's something an Edomite would say. We're Shemites. You want to get us as far away as from being a Shemite as possible. Then no, y'all are we ain't no Hamites, man. We ain't no Hamites.
Hey, Jay, you gotta be quiet. Jay, be quiet. What I'm saying, mine, is that you said nation and house have similar words in the definition, but they don't.
No, that's not what I said. I said if you go to the understanding, yes, descendant. I made sure it's clear what I'm talking about. And I don't want to make the semantic game the point that I'm making.
You've been making a semantic game, man. You talking in circles. It's called circulocution. You're talking in circles, man. You ain't going nowhere, man. Hey, like when going back to when the infamous Vocab Malone rolled up with his motley crew, it was nothing but going in circles. It was going nowhere. It went absolutely nowhere.
Because the point I'm making is that nations itself, even just what it just said, that it's not speaking about race or the like a person's race. Like we are, I say an African American man. That's what I put on my little thing. Right. So then somebody else would be a Caucasian man or whatever.
Is the word race in the Bible?
No, that's my point though. There's no race
so
in the Bible. There's no race in the Bible because the Bible, everybody started off, everybody is looked at as one race in the Bible.
No, they would. Wait. If the word race
Today,
is not, one second, man. If the word race is not in the Bible, you can't say everybody was regarded as one word that's not in the Bible. The only word, the only word that we know,
mankind.
The only word that we know that's in the Bible is nation. And when I just read Genesis 25 and 23, and Genesis 10 and 32, the Lord separated nations that eventually will become the races that we see today. The Hamitic races that we see today were divided in Genesis 10 and 32. The Shemitic races, the Japhetic races, they were all divided. The Bible just doesn't use the word race, it uses the word nation. So you can't now say it was one race in the Bible when the Lord would have never had to divide it if we were just going to be one race, as you say.
Yeah, no. So my point is making no matter how you feel is that we all started off as one race. And yes, of course, people. I
Can you
believe
explain that?
because
Don't tell him to explain that, man. We don't want to hear another half an hour of some fucking verbal diarrhea. Oh my goodness. I'm like I said, I would have hit that hang up button on him. I would have hit that hang up button quick. You can't make yourself the elect. You never watched that because I threw that out there and he grabbed it. Let me see some ex-Freemason cop. The Rothschilds are at the top and work with demons. Boy, there's some good stuff, some juicy stuff, juicy things here. I gotta leave this alone, man. If they don't switch up, man, Captain, come on, man. Why you going to engage him, man? So, spew out some more verbal diarrhea, man. Try to get this guy off the goddamn phone. Move on to the next caller. This guy's going nowhere with this madness that he's teaching.
we all started off with yes, we started off as humans and we started off in a specific area.
Where's that in the Bible? Where's the word human in the Bible?
And we all were what you would call one race, one complexion, one.
No, what I'm saying is not about this talking. Can you pick the Bible verses or whatever to
Genesis 5. Genesis 5 and 1.
Okay, so Genesis 5 and 1.
Let me jump up, man. Let's hope it goes to the next caller.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. If we was to actually do it correctly, it would have to be Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, his other sons, and then you would get down to Jacob. But those sons of Abraham are omitted because they're not a part of God's lines. That doesn't mean that
Beautiful point to the captain. Beautiful point right there. The Most High is dealing with the chosen people. That's why when you go to Romans, the 9th chapter, it says not because they are of the set. What does it say? Matter of fact, let me go to that. So now I can pull out a few precepts. That's what I wanted to do in the first place. Romans 9. And right here, this is the killer to this Christians. Can't get around this. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, not to any other nation. The only ones that's going to be delivered in the kingdom and receive blessings in the kingdom are the Israelites, our national Israel, the people that stem from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. And the Apostle Paul explains that. Not 6th verse. Oh, beautiful. Genesis 25 and 19 and 23. So this is where we know where Paul is quoting from. Not as though the word of the Most High have taken on effect, for they are not all Israel, which are Israel. What's the difference there? You have the elect of Israel, and then you have the rest of Israel. Israel is the elect nation. That's in Isaiah 45, I believe. But you have an elect within the elect. Okay, you have a special group of Israelites within Israel as a whole. That's why not all Israelites are going to make it. It said neither because they are the seed of Abraham. And Captain Tazarek mentioned that. He said the first son in line would be Ishmael. Ishmael, then Isaac, then the 6 sons that Abraham had with Keturah. Doesn't work that way. The Most High bypassed the first son and dealt with the second son, Isaac, because the second son came out of the womb of Sarah. All right. It says, neither because they are of the seed of Abraham are they all children. They're not the chosen people. But in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So that's how the Most High established Israel through a certain seed. See, Esau can't jump up and say, oh, well, I'm come from Abraham too. Yes, you do come from Abraham. Matter of fact, you come from Abraham and Isaac. But the line went through the second born son, because your birthright was Yaquab. Yaquab, your birthright, your birth certificate, birthright, same thing. So I was able to get out one precept. So let's go.
Those other sons didn't become nations. We still have the Ishmaelites as a nation. So your argument of saying that we come from one race doesn't line up with the verse that you just pulled.
In fact, let me see if I can find another precept here. Genesis 17, if I'm not mistaken. Genesis 17. And Jake, if Jake comes up with Islamic stuff, just have him go down the street, because you ain't gonna go nowhere. We never converted Jake that's a Arab. We never convert them. That's a shit. Even fasting did not take that Islamic demon off of them. Let me see here. Let me go to, I believe. Let me see. Behold, my covenant, Father many nations. Right. Father many nations is talking about Israelites. Because tribes of Israel are also known as nations. Thy name shall be Abraham, father nations, many nations, and I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and make a nation of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. It's talking about Israelites. To all the nations shall be blessed through thee. That's Israelites. I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed. What seed? Isaac's seed, and from Isaac to Jacob, after thee in the generation, for an everlasting covenant, right? And the same covenant is a new. The old covenant is the same covenant as the new covenant. The only thing is the Most High is going to program us to keep the laws. To be a power unto thee and thy seed after thee. Thy seed is Israel. Let me try this. Okay, this is what I wanted. Abraham said to the Most High that Ishmael might live before thee, because that was his first son. So he had his love. That's my first son. I finally got a son in his old age. But the Most High had other plans. And the Most High said, Sarah, thy wife, shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, which means laughter. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. So who came out of Isaac? Esau. But it wasn't talking about Esau. It was talking about Jacob and Jacob's sons. For an everlasting covenant, that's Israel, and with his seed, Israel, the Israelites after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. That's what Ishmael's name means. Heard of the power, or heard of God. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, or through Isaac, it should say, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. So who's that? All the families of the earth shall be blessed. It's talking about all the families of Israel. Let's come on back. Okay, let's come on back. Let's listen to a little bit more.
Because Cain would, by even your own definition, be a different race than Adam's.
Okay, so we're not gonna ignore what you're saying. So let's
You
just make
can't
sure
ignore
we-
what I'm saying.
Yeah, right. So Genesis chapter 2, in 19. You want to read that for me, brother?
Yeah, I could do it. 4:19 it says, and out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. Whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. That's the verse you wanted?
Yes. So now, is this one person right here?
What do you mean between the Most High and Adam?
No, this person right here that God has created.
Yeah. No, well, for me, he's not creating anything. Even the verse we read wasn't about him creating anything. He's naming the animals, whatever the Lord brought the animals to him, and Adam named the animals. It's not about a creation.
Oh, no, my bad. Wait, I probably was distracted.
Yeah, you said Genesis.
I
Yeah,
had
that's why
to- I
when
had
I
to
read
read
it,
wrong,
yeah,
my
when I
bad.
read it, I'm like,
Yeah,
damn,
no.
why we talk about naming
Yeah,
animals?
no. My
You mean
Can you read? Genesis chapter? Can you read Genesis chapter 2 and 7?
no sweat? And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living.
All right. So is this talking about a one man?
It's definitely talking about one man, but not him creating the man, like putting legs and limbs and stuff like that. It's him giving him, Most High giving Adam a spirit to actually be alive.
So, so when it says form man of the dust of the ground, what does that mean?
The dust of the ground is symbolic for one state. Read tons of scriptures, Isaiah 52, when it tells Israel to shake herself from the dust. The dust is like right above the ground, but it's not high enough to mean anything. So mankind was in that low state or that dust state, not knowing what to do, how to do anything. Once he breathed into Adam the breath of life, and it becomes a living soul. Even that verse we read, it's Adam who names the animals. It's Adam who then begins to till and do the work of the Lord, and then it's supposed to be the standard for what everybody else will follow. You can read even when it talks about the breath of life coming alive, Ezekiel 37 chapter.
Beautiful, because that was in my mind. I was going to go to it, and Captain Cesario beat me to it because that's what it says, that they were gathered, but there was no breath in them, meaning the breath represents breathing in his nostrils, the breath of life. That's a whole nother subject. I'm not going to go all into it. But the breath represents this knowledge. So you got Israelites out there that know that they're Israelites, but they don't believe in reincarnation. They don't have the full breath. You got Israelites out there that say the MOTB is an embargo or whatever the hell they say it is. They don't have the full breath in them. Okay, you got Jakes that are Islamic that come together as a people, black people coming together. Okay, they're coming together, but there's no breath. There's definitely no breath in them. So the breath that was given to Adam, breathed into his nostrils, the breath of life, was the knowledge to be superior over the nations and the animals and the land. He was like a king, if you will, which that was Yahweh Shai any daggone way. Let's listen to a little bit more.
As an example, Baruch 4:1, when it says, they that keep the commandments shall live, those that leave it shall die. So it's not talking about a literal living and a literal dying. It's talking about living according to the Most High or dying by the judgments you get from the Most High.
Okay, so I'm gonna believe you, and we can use that. So in that sense, when we go to Genesis chapter 4:1, can you read that from
Genesis 4:1, and Adam knew his wife, but she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I've got the man of the Lord.
Okay, so who is this talking about? What man had this child named Cain? Adam. And is this the same Adam that was talked about in Genesis 2 and 7?
Yes.
Okay, so the man that God created in Genesis 2 and 7 had Cain, right?
Mm-hmm. The man that God gave the breath of life.
Right. And so can we say that this Cain is the same race as his father?
Cain would be the same nation.
Well,
But the spirit of the devil, as opposed to Abel, which had the spirit of the Most High, the righteous spirit. That's Jacob and Esau was already on the scene as Cain and Abel, or Abel and Cain. The mark that he received was he took his pigment, and when he came back and when he was born, the reason why he was born without pigment, because he was born with that mark in him. The original Cain was a dark-skinned man.
well, I'm saying race, like meaning.
Well, I'm only saying nation because race doesn't exist.
I'm crying.
That's
fine.
I would keep it 100. Yeah, there you go. I mean, if you want to say, I think race and nation is the same, but you got an issue with that. So
Yeah,
now,
because it's not.
right.
But
So what I'm doing is sticking to what's actually in the Bible, and that's nation. So
No, I understand.
I understand.
So going forward, can we read verse 2?
Yeah, and she bear.
I'm gonna close this. Good going too long, man. It's going too long, man. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.